Hi, everybody, and welcome to Module 2. I enjoyed getting to know a little bit about you during our introduction discussions. So go ahead and take a look at my post and answer me if you'd like to, but it's not required. So we're going to be moving into Module 2 now. Go ahead and click on the Modules button on the left-hand side of your home page and scroll down until you get to Module 2. And the first thing you'll do there is click on the Module 2 overview. And once you are there, you will see that we are going to begin a course-long project, which is a problem solution proposal project. So we are going to be doing a bunch of different invention exercises first, smaller assignments to prepare you for this project, and then you can use those smaller assignments and the feedback that you receive to put the project together. First, you'll put together a draft and you'll receive some feedback from your peers and from myself and your writing mentor, and then you'll spend some time revising it and turning it in at the end of the class. So that is what we're going to be working on. Let's go ahead and take a deep dive into the problem solution proposal project. Just go ahead and click on that link, and I'll walk you through what we're going to be doing. So the purpose of this project is for you to write a letter or a memo to a body that can make a decision about making changes within your local community. You'll be including secondary and primary research. So it's very important that you're able to get a hold of somebody in your community that would be knowledgeable about the information that you're working on, so that you can give them an interview or that you can go somewhere and observe what's happening in your community. So let's kind of walk through. If you start at the top, you'll see there's an overview and purpose, and that the project will span several weeks and involve multiple parts. So you are going to be creating some arguments and counter arguments in this project. So let's go ahead and walk through the project description. So first, we're going to be working on a proposal, and that will include an introduction that describes the local community problem, and it needs to be local. So this should be your hometown where you are living. And if you haven't lived there very long, I would accept something from your previous residence. So because you really want to, have an in-depth knowledge of what's happening in your community. So you're going to be describing a local community problem and explaining why it's a serious or urgent problem that needs to be solved. And so the introduction should have a clear thesis, and it should encapsulate the solution to the problem and the reasons for it. Then you're going to be presenting two alternative solutions and an explanation of their drawbacks with supporting evidence, and your supporting evidence will be coming from your primary and secondary research. So then you're going to have a clear argument for your proposed best solution to the problem, and you're going to describe that in detail, and you're going to justify that using 2 to 3 convincing audience-appropriate reasons for why it is the best and most effective solution. The next thing that you will have in the project is 2 counter arguments with rebuttals that anticipate objections or concerns. All of your arguments and paragraphs should have research in them, including the counter arguments and the rebuttals. So you'll be supporting everything with research. And then finally, in your conclusion, you're going to offer a convincing call to implement the proposed solution. So if you scroll down a little, you'll see that you're required to have a minimum of 6 credible secondary sources, and they need to not be more than 7 years old. So we're looking for more current research here. So scroll down and it'll describe your primary research options. You can click on that link, but that would come from an interview, in-person online, email, or phone, or a survey that you conduct with someone in your local community. And then there's a multimodal component to our project that we'll be working on later that you'll submit both with the draft and with the final project. But you'll be either making an advocacy ad or a PSA, and you should do this on your own. This should not be something that you use AI to complete. Okay, so if you scroll down to the project requirements, that gives you a quick overview of what I've just discussed. It should be at least 1,300 words long and is submitted in APA format, in a Microsoft Word compatible format or a PDF, and then you'll have a separate advocacy ad or video. So that goes over our entire project. And don't worry if this sounds overwhelming right now. We're going to be working on it piece by piece as we move through the course. So if you hit your back button on your browser, it'll take you back to the overview. And then what we'll do next is scroll down to the bottom and hit that next button. And you'll see that we have some top hat materials to cover in Module 2. As I discussed last week, you should complete these top hat materials before moving on to the assignments this week. This is our textbook, and this is where you'll learn the information that you need to apply in our assignments. So scroll down and click the next button, and that will take you to our additional learning materials. Here you have another link to the problem solution proposal project, and we just clicked through that, so you'll be able to explore that in this section also. And you'll be submitting a topic proposal. That'll be one of the invention exercises. So you can click on that link to see what needs to go in the proposal. That'll be the first step towards working towards that rough draft that we'll be doing. You should make sure that you are picking a project that is focused to your community, local to your community. And here's a description below. What is a community? That is defined as where you live, your place in the world, and your neighborhood, your city, your school, your workplace, or your discipline. So you're going to take a look at your physical location and institutional environment. You're going to think about the different types of communities you belong to, clubs, religious groups, race, ethnicity, gender, sexuality, or class. Some examples of community problem topics would be a lack of safe spaces in downtown Phoenix, Arizona, or wherever you're living, lack of vegan food options. So these are just some examples that you can read through. And then you'll be doing the brainstorming activity. And this is something that you'll do before the topic proposal. And it's self-directed. There's nothing that you need to do to submit any work to me for this. This is just to help you put together your topic proposal. So in generating those ideas, you're going to think about 2 to 3 distinct communities you belong to. You're going to identify 1 to 2 general problems that affect the group. You're considering the geographic location. And if it's an institution, you're going to be identifying a specific business, school, university, or workplace. And so that's going to get you started on our project. Go ahead and click the next button. And this takes you to the problem solution proposal project description that we went over, and that's linked in the other sections of the course. Now, if you scroll down, you'll see in this, on this page, you'll also see the project rubric. So that's how you're going to be evaluated on the assignment. And then you're going to see some sample projects that you can look through. And it's important to look through them just to get a sense of some of the things that you'll be doing. And that'll help you collect your thoughts and brainstorm and really submit a solid topic proposal. So click on the next button, and that will take you to our topic proposal. And this is something you should set aside between 1.5 to 2 hours to do. And we're going to be building on that ungraded brainstorming activity that you will complete. And if you scroll down, you'll see there are some instructions on what to submit. You're going to be creating a 1 to 2 page paper that's approximately 500 to 650 words, double spaced, 12-point font in a Word or PDF document. So the first thing you should do is choose your community problem. Step 2 talks about why the problem is important to the community and what the potential consequences are if the problem is not addressed. Step 3 talks about the stakeholders, or who is affected by this problem, people, the groups that have influence. So you're going to be considering how people might react to potential solutions. Here you have an AI component, so you can do an initial quick search on your topic. Use either the ASU library databases, Google Scholar, and then you can use Gen AI like ChatGPT to do another kind of quick search. And then the next steps, you will research the problem in more depth. So what you'll be thinking about the different kinds of research that you come across and how you're going to use that. If you keep scrolling down, there are some different links to click on that will give you some strategies for putting this together and some strategies for researching. And then you will see that the below portion is optional. You are not required to submit the results of the AI prompt. It's just something that you can try out. Keep scrolling down and you will see that there are a set of instructions and then a set of submission requirements. So as I mentioned, it's 500 to 650 words for the whole proposal, Word compatible or PDF, and a 12-point font. And then you click the Start Assignment to submit the file. If you keep scrolling down, you'll see the grading rubric for this. It's fairly simple since this is an invention exercise. You can go ahead and use this as a checklist to make sure everything is included. So I look forward to looking through the choices that you make about your communities and the problems that you find there and what possible solutions you might come up with. Have a great week, and of course, contact me if you need any help.